PEV, or Good Karma brands. Let's head over to the Garden Doctor.
Wix Filters sale days at your local Auto Value Parts store. Not only will you get the best deal of the season on our very best filters, but you'll also find deep discounts on oil, fluids, grease, batteries, and more. Upgrade your filters during Wix Filters sale days at your local Auto Value Parts store. See store for official sale dates. Auto Value. We've got the parts. We've got the smarts.
No Batman here today, but the Garden Doctor is, yes, Leah Stark, the Iron Woman of Jung's, 5 different locations. We were just getting warmed up a little bit, but it's so exciting to see you. It's been a long time.
Thank you.
And I forgot, you have been with Jung's for 20 years.
Just about.
So you started when you were 8 years old then?
No, a little bit older.
Only just a couple of years.
Just a few years.
But this is an exciting time of year for Jung's. You guys are having your Dollar Days. Everybody gets excited about that. What exactly is Dollar Days and how do people get involved?
So with our Jung Dollar Days, if you are signed up with us, you earn $1 Jung dollar for every $10 you spend, and they just accumulate over the year. And then during our Dollar Day promotions, you redeem your Jung dollars for up to 50% off of your purchase.
So I buy some mums, like maybe these yellow mums that you have brought in on the table, which I love. And then I can use those Jung dollars to buy my mum some mums.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. They are good towards anything at our store except for gift certificates.
But if somebody maybe needs some bulbs, this would be a great time. And this is still, we've been talking originally now, we've had a new guest for the Garden Doctor the last 3 weeks. Originally it was Dick's brother was here and then Dick himself. And now, is this still the right time to plant garlic and bulbs in our garden?
Yes, this is the perfect time. Bulbs can be in the ground up until the ground freezes. With the cooler temperatures now, it's perfect. Still perfect to do trees and shrubs and perennials and all that too.
Leah Stark is joining us from Jung's Garden Center. If you have a question for the Garden Doctor this half hour, let us know. 920-885-4446. You've been at Jung's for 20 years. What are some of the things that really stand out to you during your time there? Things that you've picked up from the various Garden Doctors?
Well, the company has definitely evolved over the years that I've been there. We have grown. We have added another garden center. Our mail order production has increased significantly. We're growing with everybody. We're growing with all the gardeners and trying to provide for all of the gardeners out there everything that we can possibly do for them.
I know Dick has been really excited about the videos that you guys have been posting on YouTube.
Yes.
That's a new part of, you guys have never really dabbled into that before.
Right. We have some very good social media coordinators, and they post to Facebook, to YouTube, Instagram. I think that might be it. But yeah, they're really trying to try to get that to grow.
Oh, a great pun there. But showcasing all the, and that really does a lot of justice to the beauty that you guys have here. That's why we've been showing the Garden Doctor on Daily Dodge TV, because you have so many amazing flowers. And as much as we use vivid language, it doesn't always come across.
Right. Yes.
What are some of the new trees and shrubs that you have that might be a good time to plant right now at Jung's?
We have a variety of trees available. We've got just a huge selection: Kentucky coffee tree, some maples, lindens, shrubs. We're not quite fully stocked, but we still have quite a bit available, and we can certainly get something for you.
Where do you get the majority of your stock for local trees?
So a lot of it is grown in-house. Kind of behind the scenes from our nursery manager. And we just submit our orders and he fills them for us.
And you guys have quite the operation there in Randolph. That's your central location, right? You have 5
Yes.
total locations.
Yep. So Randolph is our hub. We have a garden center there. That's where all of our mail order production is. We have, I think, a total of 9 catalogs that are shipped out of Randolph. And then we have 5 additional garden centers around the state.
So this time of year, we're probably finally using up the last of the zucchini that we overplanted and then forgot that, oh yeah, this proliferates quite well.
Yes.
And then we're trying to just basically give zucchini bars to all our neighbors.
Right.
What are some of the vegetables that might be coming into harvest time right now?
So harvest time right now would be a lot of the squash and pumpkins. Some people could still have potatoes and onions, carrots, a lot of the root crops too. Some of those will, like the carrots, if they take a light freeze, they become sweeter. But you can certainly harvest those now. And then, our growing season is coming to an end here pretty shortly, if it hasn't already in some locations.
Now, when it comes to tubers like potatoes or anything that's under the ground right now, can we leave that in our garden until the first freeze? Will that improve the flavor? Should we take it out beforehand?
So, but depending on when you planted your potatoes, if they're in the ground and it freezes, it'll be okay.
When it comes to preparing the garden for winter, what do you recommend when people stop by?
I would recommend the best kind of fall cleanup that you can provide. Get all of the debris out, any of the foliage that has fallen, especially like from the tomato plants. If you had powdery mildew on your cucumbers or your squash or anything like that, try to get the foliage out. And most of them should be put in your trash or burned, not into the compost pile.
We're speaking with Leah Stark, the garden doctor. If you have a question, 920-885-4446. Gardens require a lot of time and a lot of effort.
Yes.
And oftentimes we can put in as much time or effort as we want, and we don't always get the results
Right.
that we feel that
Yep.
we deserve. At that point, should we be considering fertilizer? Should we maybe consider expanding our garden or moving to new soil? What are some of the options that are out there for people?
A lot of it just depends on what you're dealing with. More isn't always better, especially if you don't have the time for it. If you, I lost my train of thought. Sorry about that. If you're dealing with a lot of insects or diseases, that also takes a lot of time to manage. I don't know that I would definitely. I wouldn't expand unless you have the room for it and the time to. A lot of us think we have time in the beginning, the planting season, and then we quickly realize that life takes us in other directions.
I wouldn't worry so much about losing your train of thought. My train is derailed years ago, and I still don't know when it's coming back to the station. But you mentioned taking out all the foliage that may
Yes.
be in our garden. Should we put it in any top layer if we have access to manure or hay, straw? Is that something we should be putting on our garden?
Yes, you can certainly amend your soil this fall. I dump all my flower pots, that soil into the garden. I get that worked in. And you can certainly add more of that in the springtime too as you prepare to plant.
So we can still take our rototillers and work in stuff to the soil right now, and that's going to be okay.
Yep, that's perfect.
Is there any time when we shouldn't be doing that when winter approaches?
No, you can really do that up until the ground freezes. If you have a lot of weeds, you might want to try to get those out too. As we work the soil, we're just working those weed seeds back into the soil. And sometimes they're there for thousands of years. And every time we keep tilling the garden, we're just adding new life to those weed seeds.
I love how the zinnias always seem to struggle, and yet the lamb's quarter does quite well
Yes.
in the garden. I
Yes.
love
Yep.
how I can put no time behind the lamb's quarter and tons of time in the zinnias, and yet same outcome every
Right.
year.
Yep, absolutely.
And if that's the case, you have special fertilizers for, let's say, flowers over a type of fruiting vegetable.
Right. We have a lot of different fertilizers available. Anywhere from a higher nitrogen to a higher phosphorus or higher potassium. Just depends on the plant that you're trying to fertilize. Wide selection of fertilizers at our stores, even online too. But certainly whatever you might need throughout the growing season. And now's the time where we try to stop fertilizing because we just want our plants to slowly go into their dormancy.
I know we probably don't want a lot of nitrogen-based fertilizers because we don't need the leaves to be growing so much right at this moment.
Yep.
So is there something that helps the root growth that we should be possibly applying right now?
So that would be like the phosphorus and the potassium. I try to stay away from a certain brand of fertilizer. Starts with an M and ends with a grow. I don't know if I can say that or not.
Okay, I think we got the point across.
But that has a higher nitrogen, and a lot of folks know that brand, and so they end up with a lot of foliar growth and not as much fruit or flowers.
We'll come back to that in just a little bit. We do have a call for the garden doctor, so let's go to the phones and say good afternoon. You are joined with the garden doctor. What's your question?
Yeah, I got a couple of lilac bushes, and the leaves usually don't fall off until December or later. And now this year they fell off already, and I got new leaves coming on and flowers. What's up with that?
I don't exactly know what it is. It's happened the last few years. A lot of it starts with the powdery mildew. Lilacs are very susceptible to that. And then I think it started last year, especially because we were in such a drought, and then which stressed the plants, which then caused them to lose their foliage and re-leaf again. And I think that same occurrence is happening this year too. No need to worry. I would suggest also cleaning up the spent foliage and getting rid of that too. You probably have some powdery mildew spores on there. No need to worry though, because they will go back into their natural dormancy, and then all is well again next spring.
So I'll have flowers when spring comes?
Yes, you should.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you for the call. If you have a question for the garden doctor, 920-885-4446. Going back to what he mentioned there about the lilacs and the powdery mildew, you mentioned that was something that you guys have noticed over the last couple of years. And your hub in Randolph is a great spot to grow. It's kind of isolated. It's a little island of Eden out there in Randolph, to exaggerate maybe just a little bit. But do you guys notice any new diseases in proliferating in recent years? Is that something you guys kind of catch on the early because you're so close to growing the source?
In our production areas, yes, we there's nothing new that we've noticed. Powdery mildew, for example, is something that we've known about for a long, long time, and it happens on a lot of different plants. So we know how to identify it, how to treat it, and even what to tell our customers too. It's best to prevent it until or before it becomes a problem.
Right. Are you ever in contact with other organizations and just communicating what you're seeing when it comes to new diseases that might be appearing?
So we do have a staff horticulturist, and we work closely with him, and he with us as well, as far as if somebody were to email him with any kind of question, diseases, it's always forwarded on to us too. So we're always in the loop together. And he's a good resource for us that we can ask our problems, ask him about our problems, and we've also worked with UW too.
Oh, excellent. Speaking with Leah Stark from Jung's Garden Center, we do have another call on the line. Let's go back to the phones. Hello, you are speaking with the garden doctor. What's your question?
Hi, I'm just calling to see if it's okay to trim my rose bushes now, and how do I keep them alive over winter?
Do you know what type of rose bush you have?
They are like a hybrid tea.
Sure. So the hybrid tea, you want to cut down. You can leave a foot or so on those. What you really need to do with the hybrid tea roses is to protect the graft union. So where the stem meets the branches, it looks like like they're bulging. That you really need to protect from our winters. Deep layer of mulch around that, and then even a rose cone. A lot of people will dig a trench and tip the rose and bury it into the ground. But if that doesn't work for you, just mulch as heavy as you can. And if you can add snow cover to it, that helps as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you for the question. In that example, what sort of mulch would work best for roses?
Shredded leaves or chopped straw, anything like that would work. I wouldn't recommend lawn clippings, but if you do get them with your leaves as you're shredding them up, not to worry.
Does shredded up detritus like leaves, does that work for mulching things outside of rose bushes?
Yes, you can use that anywhere in your garden.
And that would be just fine.
Yep.
So this morning when I was driving in north on 151, I noticed on the thermostat it was right around 38, 37 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked. I had to finally whip out my vest. But it does seem like a frost could be approaching rather quickly. Is
Yes.
there anything we can do to protect some of those crops to give them a little extra time right now?
So we do offer a frost-proof blanket, if you will. We have those at our stores. It's a woven fabric that is best. You can certainly use old sheets or old blankets. I wouldn't use anything plastic or like a tarp. That gets really cold and it's really not going to help you very much.
It's not really insulating,
Yes,
but it's keeping the frost and moisture off the plants. But that's not enough, though.
Right.
So you do want something that's going to actually provide warmth.
Yeah. And what I do is I just go to my local Goodwill or St. Vinny's and I grab some of their cheaper blankets. If they're stained, it doesn't matter because I'm just going to throw them over the garden plants anyway. So if I get them dirty, then no worries.
Do you have to make a structure for that to set the blanket? Do you put it right on the plants?
I just do it right on the plants.
And that works just fine.
Yep, that's enough.
They're hardy enough.
Yep.
They live in Wisconsin.
Yep.
They can take it.
And some of our more tender plants, our peppers, there's not much growing left for them because they like to be warmer, and our daytime temperatures aren't there anymore.
920-885-4446. If you have a question for the garden doctor, as we are approaching Jung's Dollar Days coming up. When does that officially kick off again?
October 6th. And starting tomorrow, you will earn double Jung dollars through October 5th. I write that down? Yeah. So September 29th through the 5th, you will earn double Jung dollars. So every $2 for the 10 that you spend. You will earn it.
So the 29th, which according to my calendar starts tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yep.
Oh, so then you have one whole week from Thursday to next Thursday then.
Yep. And then our Dollar Day promotion starts October 6th through the 9th.
So you mentioned that I can get Jung's dollars on pretty much any purchase except
gift certificates.
So I could buy some garden gnomes and also get Jung dollars?
Yep.
All right.
So right now you would earn, and then when starting October 6th, then you can redeem.
So Nomeo can finally have his Juliet.
Yes.
That's going to be a happy ending in the garden this year. I cannot wait. Do we need to be thinking about spring at all right now? I know we're already talking about preparing the garden for winter, but is there anything else we can do to give us a boost?
Yes, because we have all of our bulbs available right now, a majority of our bulbs. Some of them are on their way to the stores this week or next. But perfect time to plant tulips and daffodils, all those spring blooming flowers. You do those in the fall and see their beauty in the springtime.
Let's go back to the phones. A question for the garden doctor. Hello, what is your question today?
Yes, I have a rose bush that has that bloom for several years. One year the aphids got the leaves, and I finally got that under control. This year I had a ton of foliage. It grew like crazy, but there was not one single blossom on it.
Yeah, so there's another case where it sounds like it might be too much nitrogen. I would suggest doing some pruning, and then in the springtime, add some bloom booster fertilizer. And I think you would use that every 7 to 14 days or so.
That is something I am not familiar with. I've never had to use it before.
Yeah,
So I am really surprised that, this rose bush has been in the same place for a long time.
yeah. So it sounds like it needs a little maintenance, but I would start with pruning, and that will encourage some growth next year, including the blooms.
Because I did cut it back. Actually, I had to cut it back for like twice this summer because it was just going out of control. And probably the wrong thing to go, but it was growing crazy, but there were no blossoms on it whatsoever.
Okay, and so you might have cut some of those the buds off. I think I still would do some light pruning this fall or early spring, and then definitely do some fertilizing next spring as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, have a good day.
Thank you for the question. 920-885-4446. So that was a great example of showing that gardening is an incredibly rewarding hobby, but it can be really frustrating because, as she mentioned, she's had these roses in this spot for decades, but eventually comes a point where the plant has used up all the available nutrients in that given time. And are there early signs that we might be able to tell, I guess, in this example for roses in particular?
So a lot of it is, sometimes it's decline in the plant, the health of the plant. Sometimes you can see that in the foliage. Sometimes you can, even the flowers too, or in her case where she isn't getting enough blossoms on it. And so then we kind of have to take a look at what do we need to do? Do we need to add anything to our soil? Sounds like she's got a lot of nitrogen, and that encourages the foliar growth. So every case is a little different, so we just kind of have to evaluate it and figure out our steps from there.
So if that does happen, if somebody's noticing that a plant is not doing well, should they add to the soil? Should they consult you? Is it the plant? What step do you go?
Yep, we can certainly listen to what's going on and try to recommend what kind of amendment needs to be done. You can also send a soil sample to the state, to the UW. There is a cost involved, which I think is like $15, and they give you a thorough analysis of the soil and what they recommend you add to it.
But that call also re-illustrated what you've. We have a little friend in the studio with us. But that call re-illustrated the issue of
nitrogen,
jading, if that's a word, our plants. And you mentioned that one product in particular tends to be a little heavy on the nitrogen.
Yes. Yep. And there are a lot of fertilizers. You have to just kind of take a look at the numbers on the product that you have. Some are higher in nitrogen, and then some are higher in the phosphorus and potassium too. So we just kind of have to see what you're using too.
Leah Stark is the garden doctor for today. Jung's Dollar Days starting tomorrow, lasting all week until next Thursday.
You earned double Jung dollars.
You can earn the double Jung dollars, and then it ends on October 6th.
That's when you can redeem your Jung dollars.
Aha. Okay. See, now I'm getting my ducks all in a row. So I have to ask you a question, Leah,
Yes.
and thankfully I gave you enough time because this was, as I realize now, a difficult question. But if you were to transform into any plant, could be a tree, could be a shrub, what would it be?
Ooh, any plant. Now, see, you asked me what flower before the show.
Oh, right.
Yes. If I were a flower, I think I would transform to a sunflower. They're bright, happy, cheery. Feed the pollinators, the birds, all that. Circle kind of just goes around.
Lots of protein in their seeds.
Right.
So if it was any plant, though,
Any plant.
tree or shrub included, what might it be then?
If I were a tree, I think I want to be a ginkgo because they have been around for a long, long time. They can even be traced back to the dinosaur era. So I think that there's longevity in them.
There's something with the bark of a ginkgo tree. Isn't that supposed to be really good for herbal remedies?
I don't know if it's the bark or if it's the seed from the female trees.
Okay.
I'd have to look more into that.
Next time we can have an extended
yeah.
conversation on
Yeah.
ginkgo, and we can inform our listeners that way. Jung Dollar Days, that's coming
Yep.
up. What are you most excited for at Jung's besides for Dollar Days? What else are you looking forward to?
Well, we've got a great selection of houseplants that we have to offer. A lot of bulbs right now. We've got tools for all your gardening needs, grass seed if you need to redo any seeding, lawn seeding, wide selection of mums, which I've brought here today. Our remaining strawberries are 50% off. Still a good time to plant those. But we're always excited to have people come in and even just chit-chat with us, so it's nice.
Do you have a wide selection of succulents or houseplants if somebody wants some extra green over the winter?
Yep, we have a lot of houseplants, and we're always bringing in new houseplants. Most of them come from Florida, but after this hurricane, we'll see how long that takes and what survives down there.
Do you have any name tags so when people start naming their houseplants, they can remember what they called them?
Well, we do have these little metal tags that we
Really?
do sell that you can write on there. Yep.
Now, did that surprise you when that trend started taking off of people wanting to name every plant in their house?
Yeah. I have a few that are named.
Okay. Oh, do you mind sharing them?
Well, I have this fern. It's a macho fern, so I just call him Macho Man.
Yes.
Yep.
Wade approves of that.
Yeah, it's huge. So, but yeah, we've got names of Freddie and again, slipped my mind. But yeah, we all name our plants.
I had Sylvester was the aloe vera, and it suddenly grew out. Well, it didn't suddenly. It happened over time, and I just ignored it. It outgrew its pod, and then Sylvester became Sly, Investor, and a whole bunch of cousins.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
But we can also do that with some houseplants, right? Like aloe vera, we can extend them or maybe graft and replant a cutting.
Yep. Aloes usually send out little babies, and we just repot the babies.
Pretty easy to do.
Yeah,
and if
it
someone
is.
has questions about that, they can always go to one of your 5 locations.
Yep. Anytime in Randolph. We have our store in Sun Prairie, one on the north side of Madison, one on the west side of Madison, Stevens Point, and Appleton is just a pop-up location right now, which is closed. So look for them again. February or March, they should be opening again.
Are you online as well?
We have our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and Instagram account.
Is your YouTube channel just Jung's Garden Center?
You put me on the spot.
Oh,
I'm not
sorry.
sure.
I did it again.
I'm not sure because I see it and then but I don't pay attention to what it is.
Well, you could probably search
Yeah.
on YouTube and find
Yeah,
that,
I think you
and
can.
Dick's smiling face.
Right.
But he really has his competition with you. So.
Oh no,
No?
because he's the master. He's great. He's got it all. So
what happens if these mums after you take them out of here?
they will go back out for sale, and hopefully somebody comes in and says that's the one I want, and they go home.
And hopefully some happy faces
Right.
at Jung's. Could be the
Yes.
Randolph location or any of the other ones,
Right.
as mentioned.
Yep.
And Dollar Days, that is starting tomorrow. So any purchase you make starting tomorrow, you can earn double the Jung dollars.
Correct. Yep.
And then redeem them
Yep.
on the 6th.
Yes.
I got it.
You got it.
Oh, my
Good
gosh.
job.
Thank you so much, Leah. The Garden Doctor today, Leah Stark. And anything else you want to mention?
I think we covered it all. Also have a great selection of pottery too, if you're looking for some pots for your house plants, or even outside on your deck, or whatever it may be.
Or a little flogging for your
Yep.
gnome.
Yep.
Whatever it may be.
Right.
Leah, thank you again for joining us.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank
This
you.
has been The Garden Doctor on 95.3 WBEV.
So like that of John Garden.